All right, man. We're gonna close the show with y'all's, I should say. You had a list of power rankings for after week 8 of the ACC season, or going to week 8, I should say. So I'm not gonna go through the top like all 14. I'm just gonna focus on the top 5. So going from top to bottom. Number 1, Florida State, yes. 2, Carolina. 3, Duke. 4, Clemson. That's interesting. And number 5, Louisville. Now I'm looking at the rest of the conference. Past number 5, I see Georgia Tech's at number 6, which is a pretty good spot for them. They've been playing well since late. And also, I think they can beat Georgia Tech this weekend and make some more noise. Um, but Jeff, I think I'm gonna start with you and close it with Matthew. Clemson, they're talented. I don't know if I can put them over Louisville though. But why? What's the case for Duke for I'm sorry, Clemson over Louisville at this particular point after going into week 8?
Yeah, I mean, I think, and Matthew mentioned it before. Pittsburgh. I mean, they were right above Virginia as the worst ACC team
Yes,
uh, thus far this season.
yes,
They make a change at quarterback, and I'm not taking anything away from Louisville. If you would have given them a 6-1 start with a win over Notre Dame and a top 25 ranking, they would have took it no matter what.
of course.
But I mean, that was a really bad loss. They played really poorly. Louisville had multiple opportunities in the second half of that game and just didn't play well. So I mean, it's kind of like, what have you done for me lately kind of thing. And um, you can't take away that Notre Dame win because they're incredible in that game. But if you're just going by the recency bias of it, it was an ugly loss. So I mean, you're going to drop in the rankings, and
Right.
Clemson on a bye. They've won 2 games in a row, even though we still looked at it as kind of unimpressive. Like you said, Scott, they're talented. Um, except the speed, I still have a big issue with that. So we'll see if Clemson really earns that top 4 spot. And even with Georgia Tech, I got them at 6, but it's kind of a default. Um, it's like, who really wants to step up and be the 6th and 7th place teams in the league? I think
Mhm.
1, 2, and 3. I don't think many people would have an argument with Florida
Right.
State, North Carolina, and Duke. Duke can go as far as Riley Leonard can take them. So I really
Right.
hope he's healthy for Florida State, because with that defense plus Riley Leonard, I mean, they can play with just about anybody in the country, including Florida State. I
Right.
don't think they can. I don't expect them to win in Tallahassee, even if Riley Leonard's healthy. But I mean, they're more than capable of throwing a real scare into Florida State. If he's available, I don't think they can go down there and do and win the way they beat NC State with 4 completed passes. Sorry, Scott, they only completed 4 passes and
I know.
won by
I
3
know.
touchdowns. But
God, I
uh,
know.
they're gonna need Riley Leonard in that game. But you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think is pretty set. It's just a matter of if you put Clemson behind Louisville or flip flop. Depending on your preference at the moment.
Sure. Sure. All right, Matthew. I'm gonna give you the last word on this, bro.
I agree with everything that you guys said so far. The only thing I would like to add, and Jeff brought it up on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
is that the time slots that the ACC football teams are getting this year are much better than they have been in previous
Mm-hmm.
years. And I think you guys can probably disagree with me or not. I haven't taken a look at the whole schedule, but there's an outside chance that North Carolina and Duke could be prime time on ABC, potentially could be, I would say potentially could be a college game day event, maybe. I don't know. I don't know where the game's at. I don't have it in front of me right now, but at a minimum, prime time,
Yeah,
which is
I
actually
think
kind of cool.
yeah, Duke they'll be going to Chapel Hill. They'll be going to Chapel Hill. So that would be a good candidate because Duke game they already went to Durham for the Notre Dame game. And how about that? 2 basketball schools competing for conference supremacy in football. That's pretty bizarre world in of itself, man.
And
But
in
to
the
your-
top 20 in the first preseason poll in basketball too.
Yes, I think there's a good chance that's at a minimum is either ESPN or ABC. Primetime game, an evening game.
yeah, no